Welcome to our virtual heart-to-heart discussion. I'm Cheryl Jackson. I'm excited about being here tonight. It's a discussion that I think is going to be amazing. It's on home ownership. And so if you're already a homeowner, you want to refinance, and is this the market for it? All the questions that you may have if you're a first-time buyer, if you're interested in buying, well, we got the answers for you tonight. And so I'm excited about this heart-to-heart discussion. Share. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, tell everybody that we're talking about home ownership tonight. So let's jump right in. Our first guest is Latoya Harris. Latoya is a mortgage branch manager with VanDyk Mortgage, licensed in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, and North Carolina. Over the last 12 years, she has served her clients not only as their loan originator, but also as a financial consultant. She is a graduate of both Morgan State University, my son is there, and with a bachelor's in communication, and Howard University, HU everywhere, right? Everybody's screaming HU. Howard University with a master's in social work. She held positions as vice president for the Washington, D.C. chapter of Veterans Association of Real Estate Professionals. And she's with us tonight representing VanDyk Mortgage. How are you?
I am well. How are you?
Good. Great to have you. And I'm excited about the information that we're going to share tonight. So welcome. And our next guest is Karen.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Awesome. So our next guest is Karen Dade, as a tri-state native of DC, Maryland, and Virginia, and a seasoned real estate professional. She recognized the value, the trust that her clients placed in her, and strive every day to exceed their expectation as a realtor. She prides herself on being conscientious and exuding credibility, commitment, and determination. Her passion for real estate is apparent through excellent communication skills. And she's with us tonight. She is with Devined Destiny, Fairfax Realty, and we really excited about having you tonight.
Thank you. I'm excited as well.
Listen, all this girl power in the room. I'm real excited too. Okay. And then our next guest is Deidre P. Brown. JD is the president of Lexicon Title. She is licensed to provide title and escrow services in the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia. Deidre Brown is a third-generation Washingtonian and has watched the District of Columbia transform and grow into the diverse and vibrant city that it is today. Deidre has worked in the real estate industry for over 15 years as a realtor and as a title professional. She is an active member of the Greater Capital Area Association of Realtors. She has previously been a member of GCAAR's Grievance Committee and Education Committee and Professional Development Subcommittee. She is with us tonight for our home ownership heart-to-heart discussion. Welcome, Deidre.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Listen, I'm telling you, all this girl power. You need something done. Get the girls to do it right now. I'm joking. We're welcoming all the brothers, and we thank God for the opportunity to talk about it tonight. And listen, home ownership is a question that we should have. Recently, going through this pandemic, I know there's been a shift in the housing market, and I want to be able to talk about it, dig deep into it, answer any questions that our viewers may have with regards to home ownership today. My husband and I just being transparent, we just refinanced our home again and got greater rates, was able to use it to pay off some debt, like just really set ourselves up really good with regards to things that's happening. And so with people who've lost jobs and things that's going on in the pandemic, home ownership is a really good thing to help us get through some of these economic times. So we're going to jump right in. I do have individual questions for each of you guys. And so I'm going to start with Latoya and tell us what sets you apart from other loan originators.
Yes. So for me, I'm frequently told by industry partners and clients alike that I have a unique ability to educate on the lending process, which is not very common. I educate in a way that makes an intimidating process to some easier to understand. Frequently, I'm told, hey, Latoya, I've been doing this for about a year, and no one has been able to break down in 5 minutes the information that you can. It's taken me so long to get the information that you've been able to break down for me in a matter of moments. So again, that's what I'm told makes me so unique in comparison.
I like it. I like it. So you're at VanDyk. What sets VanDyk apart? Before we jump into that, yeah, go ahead and answer that. But I do want to talk about the difference between mortgage companies, realtors, and then the title company, because you guys all represent different parts of home ownership. So go ahead and tell us what sets you apart, and then tell us the difference tell us what the mortgage company does.
Got it. So I'll start with what sets VanDyk Mortgage apart. Where do I begin? With VanDyk Mortgage is a full service mortgage lender. We're not a broker. So you have mortgage lenders and you also have brokers that that a loan may be sold to. Our company, VanDyk Mortgage, funds with its own money. So we don't borrow money from another third party. We lend with our own money, and those loans are underwritten according to our own guidelines. So you have the federal guidelines, and then you have lenders that have what's called overlays. But because we're a direct lender, oftentimes we don't have those overlays, which makes it easier to fund the loan. In regards to the numbers, in 2020, we closed 10,441 loans with $2.5 billion in value. We are licensed in 43 states, and we have 90 plus offices nationwide. To answer the question on the mortgage company's part in the transaction, the mortgage company, you always have the title company, the real estate agent, and the lender, and we all work in partnership. The lender, we're the ones that handle the money. So when a borrower doesn't have the cash out of pocket to purchase their home, we're the ones who provide that cash so that they can actually make the purchase. And of course, the ladies will share their parts in the transaction.
I love it. And I love how you do break that down really clear. So again, to any one of our viewers, wherever you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or even on the website, if you have questions, we want to be able to answer your questions tonight. That's what our heart-to-heart discussion is about. So so Karen is a real estate agent, right? So or she works for a realtor company. And I want to know how long you've been doing it. And then, like I said with LaToya, tell us the difference, or tell us what your role is in the process.
I've been a licensed agent in DC, Maryland, and Virginia for 15 plus years, and I absolutely love it. I'm very passionate about it, and I would say what stands out about me the most is I'm a people person. I believe in working with the individual, but I also would like to know them. And just to tell you a little bit, if I'm not going too far off base, about myself, my parents never owned a home. And it wasn't until I got older that I found out they were never homeowners. My parents weren't. And I was like, darn, I wonder why we never owned. So as I matured and I grew and I started learning more, I wanted to become a realtor because I just wanted to learn more. I wanted to absorb as much as I could so that I could educate myself. I could educate my family and friends. And as a result of that, you know, I've owned several homes. And I also am an investor as well. So I work with a lot of clients on both ends on owning their own home as a first-time home buyer, resellers, and a lot of investors. And just to chime in a little bit on Deidre, that's our connection. Deidre's my go-to person. We've worked together for over 10 years with Lexicon Title. So we have a long history together. But I believe in relationship building. A lot of individuals don't believe in themselves. When they don't believe in themselves, they don't have that faith that they too can own a home. Or they may look at you or someone and say, okay, well, they've got it going on, but they don't know your story. So I try to relate to them where we can work together. And in the end, everyone is compensated. You have your home. To me, the individual having the home is more important to me from the commission. There have been times where I have made exceptions to work with these individuals to make sure that nothing literally got in the way of them getting their home. I work a lot in the underserved communities. A lot of individuals, again, don't feel that they're capable, or I'm going to just keep it real, even think that they're worthy of owning a home because they don't know what it's like.
Right.
So I educate them to say, well, look, you know, if you're renting now, when you retire, you can't take your rent money back. When you own a home, you can use some of that equity in your home as a part of your retirement.
Yep.
So I would say I'm definitely down to earth. I'm a people person and I listen. That's what sets me apart.
I'm telling you, home ownership, it really has opened up a lot of doors for me and my family. You know what I mean? Able to use
Mhm.
the equity in our home for investments, for different things that we want to do to grow financially or grow our portfolio. Just being a homeowner is an amazing thing. And right now, with the prices of what rental costs, you might as well go ahead and put that into a
It's
mortgage.
mortgage.
Yeah. So tell us what the role is for the realtor in this process.
Well, we work with the buyers and get them pre-approved first,
Mhm.
to find out what their purchasing power is. So that's where Latoya would come in and get the individuals pre-approved, find out what their purchasing power is, find out what they're looking for, what's your lifestyle. Are you downsizing? Are you upsizing? What's important to you? Nowadays, with the pandemic, everyone's home over the last year has basically turned into your office, your daycare, it's your work
Right.
site, it's your home, it's the entertainment center, it's everything. So in the past, it didn't matter as much being in smaller quarters because you were barely there. You're working from 9 to 5, you drop the kids off, the kids have after school programs. You're basically just sleeping there. But your home became everything. It was like a multi-purpose room, pretty much. So what we do is get the buyer pre-approved. After we get them pre-approved, or around that same time, we have a buyer agency agreement put in place, aligning yourself up with the buyer that's going to be looking for the property. We start going on the home search based upon what they're qualified for. After they're qualified, at that point in time, we transfer the individuals over to Deidre, and I'm going to let Deidre talk about her part. It's not challenging and it's not difficult. It's just a matter of getting the buyer off the fence. It's very easy, but some are challenged and intimidated because as we grow with technology, some individuals are fearful of automation. Oh, I don't want to put I don't want to put my information out there. But you have to complete the information online, which it is secure, so your information is kept private. But it's just the challenge of certain individuals not being as tech savvy as others,
Right.
and it's a lot of hand holding.
Got it. Got it. And so I'm glad that we have people like you who are trusted, because that's one thing about being in the industry that you don't know anything about. You really have to trust people like you guys to help walk us through the process. So Deidre is at Lexicon Title. And so tell us what the title company is and how you're part of the real estate transaction.
Sure. So a title company, I normally just say we're the person you come to at the end of your transactions to sign all of your documents.
Got it.
But actually, we do a lot more than that. It's three major things that we do. And one is we clear title. And that just means that we run a title search. We make sure the person who's selling the property is actually the owner. We clear any liens that need to be paid, whether it's just something as simple as a mortgage or your taxes. The second thing that we do is, once again, is work with your lender to get all the numbers together and get all your documents together so you can come in and sign and take possession of the property. And then the third thing we do is issue title insurance. And so that's a really big, important part of the process, is making sure that the title insurance is issued after settlement. So basically what happens is once you have a ratified contract, your realtor is going to email that over to your title company. We're then going to reach out to you, whether you're the buyer or the seller, and start to gather information from you. One of the things that sets us apart is that, one, we're minority and women owned. I'm the owner of the company. I'm the person you will talk to most of the time. But a lot of title companies, you do not get to talk to the principal. I've been in business in real estate for over 15 years. Before I went to law school, I was an active realtor, so I understand the process. A lot of my investor clients like that they're able to speak to me. I can help them with their contracts. I can help them negotiate their deals. And that I also do more non-traditional transactions that involve maybe hard money or wholesaling or assignment. And then my realtors, like Karen said, we build a relationship, and I'm there to help you build your business as we build our business together. Karen and any of my agents will tell you that I'm very reachable. You can call me anytime. I'll hop on the phone with a client or with a buyer if you have questions or explanation. Like Cheryl said, like, this is new. Like, you've never purchased a home before. And so you need someone who's going to guide you and just answer those questions, right? And so I'm more than happy to hop on the phone and answer those questions at any time. We do use technology because we have to, right? So we're in a situation where we're in a world where people are trying to get your personal information. So we do utilize an encrypted online portal. It's very easy, streamlined to use. For our clients who maybe aren't as tech savvy, I normally have the agent loop the agent in, and the agent helps the client with filling out the documents we need online. And that way, all your personal information is secure. It's not going through emails, and no one can see it but the people who need to see it.
I love that. So as you can see, we have all aspects of the home ownership process right here on our Heart to Heart. And so listen, if you have any questions, if you have any comments for our experts, maybe you're in the process of buying, maybe you already are a homeowner, maybe you need to find out how to get out of the loan that you've gotten into. We had a really bad situation. And it's crazy though, because I've been in radio all, for the last 30 years. So when my husband and I purchased our home, we trusted, one of my colleagues was like a real estate was a mortgage broker as well as radio, right? We used his company, and they really took advantage of us, guys. Like, can I tell you, this is why it's so important when you guys say you can be trusted and you don't mind sharing, and that you're passionate about making sure that people get into homes, especially Black and brown people. You know what I mean? And those of us, and like Karen said, many of our generation weren't homeowners. My parents were, thank God, and not own their home now. So, and in the district, which everything gentrifying, and we see things, investment properties. So y'all might get a call from your girl, because I'm still trying to figure it out how I'm handling both properties right now. But yeah, we had a bad experience, and then we did get it, refinanced, right after, because we was in this whole balloon. We had 2 different mortgages. One was a
wow.
It was so crazy. That was 22 years ago, of course. And we were able to figure it out. And then but the thing is, we had to get with some people that we could trust, some people that knew the business, because I'm in radio. If I give you jargon that's happening in radio, you guys would know nothing about what I'm talking about, unless Latoya's worked in radio before, but unless you worked in the industry, and you would know. So your industry jargon, what you need to know in your profession. And so those of us that are average, consumers, we don't know. So it's important to have women like you that will be able to walk us through the process without trying to get us, right?
And Cheryl, just to chime in, when I purchased my first home, I didn't know anything about home ownership, because again, my parents didn't own. So when I purchased my first home, I went to settlement, and I can't make this up. It was sign here, initial that, sign here, sign there, sign there. Okay, next thing you know, you got a whole new house, you got a whole set of keys, and it's like, I wish you well. I never knew basically what I signed. I read over it, but no one educated me. No one said, well, this is what this is for, in the event you have issues, or you sign in here because this protects you from that. I didn't get any of that. I won't say who the builder was, but I got nothing. I got nothing at all but the keys and a packet with the business card. That's all I got. So
so you don't know, you don't know what loans you signed. You don't know what the terms are. You don't, all you know is, next month we better have this amount, right?
Exactly. And this is where it goes to.
And that happens so frequently in this industry. If I had $1 for every time that I've had to say to a buyer, read your documents. These are legally binding contracts, from the contract to the loan. I've had friends who have gotten into mortgages where they call me after the fact and they say, hey, Latoya, can you read this loan modification for me? Hey, Latoya, can you read these loan documents that I signed years ago? And I say to them, hey, do you know that you signed documents putting a second mortgage on your home? Do you know that this mortgage is going to balloon in XYZ amount of years? It's making sure. It's one of the reasons why I shared, I used to be on the seller side. I used to work for the builders. And one of the reasons why I switched over from being where I switched over from working with the builders and becoming a lender is because I was sick and tired of seeing buyers come in my office and they had no clue what they were signing up for. This is a 30-year commitment. You're not going to the mall. You're not going to buy a random article of clothing. You're signing up for a home. Make sure you understand your documents. And it's so critical that we as industry professionals educate our buyers throughout the process. That's, again, one of the major reasons why I came over. I figured if I could just teach one, each one teach one. If I could just get one for every one that I educate, that's one more person that knows, okay, that this is my legacy. This is something that I'm leaving behind for my family.
Yeah, if I can jump in, I agree, especially when it comes to the settlement table. Karen has been at my table multiple times. I did not do that closing. She just told you.
Oh, no, this was 20 years ago.
Make it clear. That was
because I don't do that to people. I sit down and I go over with, and for my buyers, especially my first-time home buyers, I often encourage them to take notes. And as I'm going through, I give them information that they can take notes on about when their payments due, what escrows it includes, what about their PMI, things they're not going to remember the next day, because moving day and settlement day, there is so much going on. All the information they need is in the packet, but remember, your packet is over 100 pages. And so I found that having them have a separate sheet where they've written down all the really important things is really beneficial as we're going through and I'm explaining the documents to them. But any person who's ever settled with me knows that you can call me anytime after settlement and ask me a question. I have clients call me all the time. They get a tax bill in the mail. They don't know what to do with it because, I told them that their tax is going to be escrowed. So they're wondering why they got a tax bill. Things like that. You can call me anytime and I'll explain to you what it is, or I'll point you in the direction of the person that you need to speak to figure out what that document is. As with most good realtors and mortgage lenders, this transaction doesn't end on settlement day. Like, we're still there.
Mike White has a question, and he says, I want to refi, but we have a primary mortgage and a HELOC loan. I don't think we have another equity in our home to refi. Are we stuck until we pay down the principal or either loan?
So for that one, it truly all depends on how much equity is inside of the home to be able to do the refinance. And for everyone, it is a case-by-case scenario. So what I often say to someone is, if you're looking to refinance your home, you want to start with your lender first. Let your lender look at your financial situation. And then also it gives us the opportunity to order the appraisal. And once we get the appraisal back, and I say, don't look at your without giving the websites, but don't look at those industry websites to determine what your value is. You don't know what your property value is until you have a lender order that appraisal. And when we order the appraisal, we can see if there's enough equity inside of that property for you to proceed with that refinance.
Absolutely. That's the absolute truth. I love that. Thank you, Mike, for your question. Deidre, you said something about title insurance. What is that?
So title insurance is often confused with your homeowner's insurance. So your lender's going to have you get homeowner's insurance, and that's going to cover if, the tree falls in your roof or some other disaster happens, a fire. Title insurance is really about claims against the property title-wise. So you're going to get lender's and owner's title insurance. Lender's title insurance is mandatory. If you have a loan, your lender's going to require that they are protected. The lender's title insurance covers the lender up to the loan amount on the day of the claim. And then your owner's title insurance is optional, but is highly recommended because that covers you up to the market value of your property on the day of the claim. So that increases over time. You will buy the owner's title insurance and lender's title insurance as part of your settlement cost. And your owner's title insurance policy stays in place for as long as you own the home. So if you own it for 50 years, you have it. You don't have to, it's not an annual thing that you have to keep paying. You pay it one time and it's yours. And what it covers is things like unrecorded liens. It will cover, let's say, for example, there was some fraud or forgery. The person who sold the property actually wasn't the rightful owner. There was another owner out there. Maybe, they pretended they were someone that they weren't. It can also cover some survey issues. So apparently, if there's some problems with, in some cases, there's problems with your easements or someone's boundary line issues, it will cover some of that. And so it's really important that you get it. It happens more often than you would think that there are claims put against the title insurance policy. And when that does happen, you're covered. And what that means is this: you will, if you get a claim, you will reach out to your title person. We will send it over to our underwriter, and their attorneys will now defend you. Because remember, title insurance companies don't want to pay out. So now their lawyers are defending you for free. Whereas if you didn't have title insurance, and I've seen this happen, you will have to defend that claim and go out and find a real estate attorney to represent you to defend the claim. So it's really important that you have that type of insurance in place at settlement.
And so that's that. Okay, so that comes as settlement. That's something that you should look for and ask for should you be
Yes.
a homeowner. Got it. Okay. So I want to know about the market right now. Is it a buyer's or a seller's market? And what do you guys think? So I definitely want to ask, Karen, with regards to the real estate. We'll start with her. What market are we in right now? And one of the questions you have is, when do people get off the fence and say, now's the time for me to buy? Is now a good time to buy?
I would say now is still a great time to buy because the interest rates are still historically low. And I don't see that changing right now. Well, no time soon. But I think it's a seller's market still. I submitted an offer last night for a client of mine, and within a couple of hours, they had received a couple more offers and we got outbid. So I would say now is still a great time to purchase, and that it's definitely still a seller's market. We're seeing a lot of offers now where the less you ask for, it increases your chances of your bid getting accepted. Say, for instance, if you're asking for appraisal or a home inspection, you're better off. It all depends on what your situation is. And this is unique for each individual. You may want to reconsider asking for those things based upon your circumstances. Because if someone else comes along and they say, hey, well, we don't care about what the house will appraise for, or what issues may come with the house later on, maybe I'll just get the home inspection and just make it for informational purposes only, but I'm still going to move forward with the offer. It's so many different unique ways that you have to be careful about submitting the offer to make sure it's accepted. The less you ask for, the more likely your offer will get accepted. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
What's your take on it, Latoya? Is it a buyers or sellers?
So I definitely still believe that it's that it's still the seller's market. There's this huge misconception that the market is beginning to slow down and that the market is about to shift, but I don't foresee the market shifting in the near future. I think that is the biggest elephant in the room right now is how do buyers compete with the cash buyers right now? Because you also have a lot of cash offers that's also making the market very difficult for your first-time home buyers, especially to purchase a home. I know that right now we have over 60% of homes that are being sold right now are in a bidding war, and over 25% of those homes are being bought with cash. So the only way to beat those higher bids or to beat someone who has the certainty of a cash offer is to become creative with your offer. So for most buyers, they don't know how they can do that with their lender. But this is why all three of us, we work in partnership. You have your title company, you have your agent, you have your lender, and you want to make sure everyone's communicating with each other. So with a buyer, how they can make their offer more competitive is by taking a slightly higher interest rate, which most people don't know they can do. You often hear people say, how much money can I put down to lower my monthly payment? But they don't think about increasing their interest rate. So by taking a slightly higher interest rate, if that option is available, because it's always based on someone's credit score, in exchange for a lender credit, so take a higher rate so you can receive a lender credit to be applied towards your closing costs. You can then use that money that would have been spent towards the closing costs, right? And you could use the credit that the lender is giving to, or better yet, you could use the money that you would have applied towards your closing cost of your own cash, and you could add that to your offer that you bring to the table. So you can increase the sales price and say, you know what, I'm going to increase my cash out of pocket to the buyer, increase your offer, and use the lender credit to help you with your closing costs.
Creativity.
And it takes that to win the offer.
It really does. It really does. And Cheryl, to answer your question, you were asking me about when is it a good time to get off the fence?
Yeah.
My response to that is when your debt to income ratio decreases and your credit score increases,
Mm-hmm.
then you're ready to buy.
Got it. Got it. And
That's a solid buyer.
That's real talk. I'm going to get to this question in just a few moments, but I want to hear Deidre's take on the market right now.
Right now, from a title perspective, we've been as busy as ever.
Wow.
It has been very, very busy with not just purchases, but also with refinances because the interest rates are so low. And so I, like Latoya said, I don't see a slowdown coming anytime soon. It's just they keep coming in, thank goodness. But I think the market's going to stay strong for a while.
Yeah. And I think it has to because of the economy, right? I think that this is one of the things that's kind of helping to boost the economy. And even though we've seen, the eviction moratorium lifted and all of that, that's a blessing to some people because some people really wanted to get out of the renting process now, and they've had this time to set themselves up. Not for everybody, but for some people, it's a great opportunity for them to go from renting to buying. And now that interest rates are so low, this is a great time to jump in. Okay, ready for the question, Brian. All right, here we go. We're looking to purchase a family home with a tax lien. If the tax is taken care of, can I get a clear title while paying the owner's installments under contract between us?
So if the property is in tax lien or has been through a tax sale, the past due taxes plus any late fees and attorney fees will be paid as settlement. And so normally what happens is we will reach out to the attorney who is handling the tax sale and ask them to give us what's called a payoff. Basically, they tell us how much money we need to submit to them. We reach out to the county tax office. They'll tell us how much money we need to submit, and we collect that as settlement. As far as title is concerned, it doesn't matter to us if the seller pays it or the buyer pays it. So normally that would be a seller cost. However, I do see contracts where it's written in as a term of the contract that the buyer will pay certain costs that normally are associated with the seller. So you can write into your contract that you, the buyer, are willing to pay off the seller's tax liens at settlement, and we'll just shift those numbers from the seller side of the settlement statement to your side. But yes, all of those liens must be paid as settlement in order for us to go to closing, give you clear title, and issue title insurance.
That's good. I love these questions. Keep them coming. If you have questions or concerns, we have the experts right here. Some of these seminars will cost a bunch of money to get this information they're sharing. So we're really happy to have them tonight to share it on our homeownership heart to heart. So Karen Jackson is asking, what type of incentives are available for first-time buyers right now?
So there are a number of different programs that are out there in the market. One of my go-tos is, of course, the Maryland Mortgage Program, which is sponsored by a state representative. So I'm trying to get the words together. But the Maryland Mortgage Program, what I like about them, I call them like your umbrella companies or your umbrella down payment assistance program. So if you have a first-time home buyer, the first-time home buyers often say to people is not to be confused with the tax incentive. So if you're a first-time home buyer in the state of Maryland, period, dot, the end, you are automatically entitled to a tax credit that is given to you. But when it comes to the down payment assistance / closing assistance programs, many of them, that's where that 3-year rule comes into play. So what I love about the Maryland Mortgage Program is that they give someone the advantage, or they give the buyer the advantage of, you could be a first-time home buyer, period, at the end, and you could get a lower interest rate for the assistance. Or you could be someone that may not have owned within the last 3 years, but because you've met that 3-year criteria, you still are eligible to receive that assistance. So MMP, what they do is they give you the 3% grant. They have a 4% grant. They have a first-time advantage program, and that's all just under their umbrella. Then you have other programs that are county specific, such as Prince George's County Pathways to Purchase program. And what I love about their program is that they are a grant in that it's a forgivable. So forgivable meaning that a buyer is able to, their second lien that goes on the property is forgiven in 1-year increments. So every year, 10% goes away of how much they've been given, again, up to $10,000. So let's say they receive $10,000 to go towards the down payment. In year 1, $1,000 goes away. In year 2, $2,000 goes away. So up until the 10th year, as long as they have not sold the property refinance the property or pay the property off, as long as that has occurred, then the second lien completely goes away. So there are a number of different programs out there. And one thing that I share with every borrower is that you do not want to be turned away from one lender and then think that they set the bar for every lender that's out there. Every lender has different requirements, different programs that they offer, and you do not want to feel like, oh, you know what, I lost this battle, and feel like you're turned away and there are no down payment assistance programs available for you, and not speak to another lender that may have a program that they are able to offer.
That's great. Anybody else want to tackle that?
I've represented a lot of first-time home buyers that have gone through the MMP program, as well as some of the DC first-time home buyer programs with Deidre's office support as well. And it's a lot of money out there, and I think more individuals need to be educated on what they're capable of being eligible for. One of my clients, I sold a property of his in District Heights, and he was under the MMP program, and it was exactly how LaToya had stated. And I think his grant was $5,000. He sold the house like in the 4th year. The only difference was he made out because he sold in the seller's market, and he paid the additional $1,000 back to the program, and he had new construction built and started a new home. It's a lot of opportunities.
It is. And I want to jump in right there, because one of the things that I specialize in is first-time home buyers, and this is one of the reasons Karen and I work together so closely. And in DC, so you guys have already done the Maryland, so I'm just going to do the DC rundown for you. DC has what's called DC Open Doors, which will pay all of your down payment assistance. So you pay no down payment, you only will pay your closing costs. So it's 100% loan. You have HPAP, which right now gives up to $84,000 towards your closing costs. It is income driven and it's on a sliding scale. You also have EHAP, which is if you're a government employee, you may qualify for that one. That's another $10,000 to $15,000. And then NEHAP, if you're part of any negotiated unions, part of the District of Columbia, you get additional money, and it can be piggyback on top of each other. And so I often find with my clients, when they get with the right lender, and this is what LaToya was saying, you need to make sure you're with the lender who's educated on these programs to put you into, to guide you and get you that money, because the money's out there. You just have to apply for it. And the income guidelines for the District of Columbia in particular tend to be pretty high because our average income is high. And so it's not always low income, it's working class income. And so you want to do that. The other thing that a lot of people miss and some title companies aren't as efficient with is there are ways that you can save a settlement as well on your closing costs, but you can only do it at settlement. Like later on, you can't call me and say, oh, I wish I had. So one of them is what LaToya was saying about the you don't pay the state transfer tax if you're a first-time Maryland home buyer. You need to write that into your contracts. You need a realtor who knows how to write that in and make sure that's in there, so you're not going to pay the state transfer tax. This is a one-time deal, right? If you get it wrong, we can't go back and fix it. The same thing with in the District of Columbia, we have the tax abatement. So if you qualify, you do not pay real property taxes for 5 years. Let me say that again. You will pay 0 property taxes for 5 years. And as settlement, you pay no transfer and recordation charge. And you get a credit from the seller for the money the seller would have given to DC for their transfer fee comes to your side of the settlement table. Once again, you need a realtor who's going to write that into the contract. It's on page 2 of the DC jurisdictional addendum. It must be written into the contract, and you can only do it at settlement. The other one that DC has is if you're a first-time DC home buyer, if you don't qualify for the abatement, you may qualify for this one where they cut your recordation charge in half. So instead of paying either the 1.1 or the 1.45%, you're only going to pay 0.725%. And once again, you can only do this at settlement as a first-time home buyer. And it's also the last thing is in District of Columbia, you want to make sure that you are filling out the homestead tax deduction application at settlement. In Maryland, they take care of it for you because you're going to sign the owner's affidavit. But in DC, you have to take an extra step. And you need your title company to help you with making that, taking that extra step so that you can get the homestead. And that means that going forward, your real property taxes are reduced because you own the property as your principal residence.
That's awesome. Oh yeah, I'm going to be contacting you ladies really soon. Diane Hawk has a question too. It's a really great question about solar panels. Are solar panels a make it or break it deal when selling? Is it really worth investing if you plan to sell the house?
I can take that question, or if you want to. I've worked with a client, and I sold their property, and they had several solar panels, and it's transferable. And from what I've been told, it cuts down on the utility bill for the electricity. Um, it's worth it to keep it if you have it. I don't know if I would invest in it. It's a case by case, situation. If you're looking to sell, I wouldn't purchase it. But if you already have it, then I would just transfer it.
Right. And so I want to jump in there. So I don't have any comment on whether you should have solar panels, not have solar panels. But I will say this, where a lot of people do not know is that solar panels actually, the solar panel company is going to file a UCC lien against your property. So there's actually a lien being filed until you pay that off. And so when Karen's saying transfer, what happens as settlement is that we will actually have you sign a document from the solar panel company transferring the rest of those payments over to your new buyer. They have to accept it or we can't go to closing. That's the only way we can get that lien unrecorded against you, Mr. Seller, and now re-recorded against the new buyer.
Right.
So it's a little bit different. Some people don't realize that and they think it's just like any other utility, but it really isn't. Until you've paid it off, it is an additional lien that's been filed against your property that has to be cleared at settlement.
And this is once more another reason why I share that it is so critical that each party in the transaction works together as partners, that everyone knows that your agent, your lender, your title company, we are all working cohesively together. If I could only speak to how many times when there are liens that are filed against the property, or if let's say there are solar panels on the property and the buyer does have to transfer those solar panels and take on that new monthly debt, we have to count that in their debt to income ratio that was mentioned earlier. And the increase in the debt to income ratio can make or break a pre-qualification. Something that I typically do with my buyers is before they write a contract, I always ask them, please send me the address. And by sending me the address, that gives me the ability to pull the property taxes, which is public information. I pull the property taxes, I pull the fees, and I'm also asking the agent, hey, are there any fees that are associated with this property? So that when I do my when I do my itemized estimate, they can see on that estimate, this is your monthly payment, this is your total out of pocket. Are you comfortable with this before you go and you submit your offer?
All good stuff. All right, I have one more question from Real Encourager, who says, because of course this is the World Wide Web, he said, what about first-time buyer incentives in Texas? So I'm not sure if you guys would know that, but I'm sure you can kind of point towards where they can actually go to look for information or who they need to talk to try to find some first-time buyers incentives.
So for me, I'm not licensed in Texas, DC, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina. However, my lender, we are licensed in Texas. So if the buyer reaches out to me, I'm sure my information will be towards the end. I can forward them and put them in contact with the lender of mine that is licensed in Texas that can provide them with any information on down payment assistance programs there.
Good. So the bottom line is find a great mortgage company that's going to help you, a realtor that's going to help you, a great title company that's going to help you find some incentives and some ways that you can get into your home as a first-time home buyer. This has been so good. So listen, to those who are viewing on our Facebook page, our YouTube page, even our website, if you have any questions, we have the professionals right here from all areas of home ownership, and they have been so gracious with sharing some great and powerful information. What feedback, I'm gonna go to Latoya, what feedback would you provide someone deciding between buying and selling in this market?
Buying and selling in this market, I would say it truly all depends on what their circumstance is. There truly is no best answer. So I cannot say that, hey, it's better for you to purchase right now than it is for you to sell, because I really don't know what their financial circumstance is. And it's going to be a case by case basis. However, what I will say is that it is a great advantage to them to be able to purchase. One thing that I've over the years have always shared with my buyers, what I do believe sets me apart with a lot of lenders, is that I explain to them that if you know taxes, you understand that you can purchase your home. And what I mean by that is, when it comes to really understanding taxes, most times people say the higher your income, the more tax write-offs you need. So depending on where somebody stands, where they stand financially, it serves to their advantage to purchase a home, because it gives them tax write-offs that they may or may not have without owning that property, because they earn too much income. So again, it truly all depends on what their circumstances are, and that's why you want to reach out to a lender and find out, hey, can I be pre-qualified? And then sometimes I say to them, you want to take what I give to every buyer as an itemized estimate, and I say, hey, if you purchase this home for for $500,000, this is what you're going to end up paying in property taxes. This is what you're going to end up paying in mortgage insurance, which is tax deductible. Give this to your tax accountant. Find out how many exemptions you may be eligible for just by you purchasing this property that you may not be eligible for continuing to rent. So again, I can't say that one is better than the other, but what I can say is that there may be advantages with one over the other depending on your situation.
Mm-hmm. So this question is for Karen. Is it necessary to work with a realtor when purchasing new construction? Like if you're going to a builder or anything, is it necessary to still work with a realtor?
I highly recommend that a buyer work with a realtor, because the developer does not represent you. There are going to be times where there are going to be discrepancies where you're going to need someone to fight for you, and you won't have that representation. It's very important to have a realtor. The realtor is going to take the heavy lift off of the buyer, so the buyer can focus on more of the financing. But the realtor is going to work with the developer, is going to work with the management company. I 100% strongly advise anyone that's purchased a new construction to work with the realtor. The realtor is going to be the one to be at the meetings to represent you. They're going to back brief you. We have experience with new construction, and I don't think you're shared the same information is shared with you as a buyer, and you need a professional to represent you.
I love that. You know what? That's the mistake I think we made, that we did not have that representation when dealing with a construction company. You know what I mean? With the construction, and that's where we made the mistake going into our home. Latoya, you had a burning.
I'm gonna high five you, Latoya.
A burning comment.
So I'm not sure if I shared earlier, but when I got into the market right after the market crashed in 2010. And when I started in this industry, I worked in new home construction. Oh, and the stories I could tell of when buyers would come in, even those who were represented where they did have a real estate agent, and they decided to come into the model home without their real estate agent present with them. How often it happened where we would I'm sorry to say, if it's legal for me to say, but where the realtor would be cut out of the transaction because they were not there, so they could not be deemed the procuring cause. If I had $1 for every time that something went wrong in the process. And because for the buyers who were represented by their real estate agent, those were the ones that we would see the company fix the error. And for those who were not represented by a real estate agent, those were the ones who had no one fighting on their behalf, and it was less likely that things would work out in their favor. So I co-sign to that 100%. If you're going to go new construction, even though there are some that I like over others, still bring your agent, because they're your support. You need them.
And I guess, a lot of individuals, when they're purchasing new construction, they're focused on, they walk into this house, it has all the bells and whistles, it looks so pretty, the backsplash, the soaking tub, and all these, they don't know what they're seeing. Basically, it's just a ghost of a figure, because at the end of the day, the house is a skeleton. You don't know
Correct.
that's a bump out wall. You don't know that this is the upgraded gourmet kitchen. You don't know all of these things. So you can easily assume, well, this is the model home that we're getting, and everything that this is equipped with is what we can anticipate seeing when we get there. It's not. It's like a doll baby that's been dressed up. I'm
To
just
make
saying.
you honest,
That's
yes.
good. That's a great description. Yeah. Listen, as first time home, like I said, this was 22 years ago. My husband and I, we were, married. We're 25 years married now, but we
Congratulations.
were home 22 years ago, and we were green. We went into, we were going from builder to builder. And we built our house. We did it, through a construction company, but that's where we messed up. And so I really love that. I love that question. So yeah, take a realtor with you. Pam Jones has a question from our audience. Let's address her. She said, "Good evening, ladies. Thank you for this information. My question is about the Fannie Mae homes. I've been trying to find information. Does anyone know about purchasing homes with Fannie Mae?"
So in those instances, you do have to go with a lender that is approved to offer it. So I can't speak by experience how to purchase a Fannie Mae home. But what I can say to you is you want to go to a lender that's specifically approved to sell that Fannie Mae home.
Got it. So Fannie Mae has tell us about what Fannie Mae homes are really quick, so we'll know what you're talking about.
So for that, only because I'm not a Fannie Mae lender, I am a direct lender, but I do not sell on behalf of a Fannie Mae. So I truly cannot speak to it intelligibly, and I do not want to give any misinformation.
Okay, that's good stuff. All right. So listen, can you believe it or not? We're like 8 minutes out, right? Before
this was great.
But I do want, this has been really good. I really do want to give each of you an opportunity to share what we may not have talked about, right? Just give, if anything from your company or your perspective that you want our viewers to know about tonight. I want to give you that opportunity before we close out. So we'll start with you, Deidre.
I just want to say that if you're looking to buy or sell, or you're an investor, work with a lot of investors in the market, please reach out to me on my website as well as lexicontitle.com. I have a video library where I answer a lot of questions that people have, and the feedback I get is that that information is invaluable. It's there. It's free. You don't even have to give me your email address to look at it. If you have any questions about anything we spoke about tonight or any of the programs, my contact information is on the website as well. And I look forward to working with you in the near future.
So that's lexicontitle.com, where everybody can go and find that information.
Yes.
Awesome. Yep, I'm going to be calling. Karen?
I too work with buyers, sellers, and investors. I'm always eager to work with new clients to educate them along the way. And I would like to make a recommendation to first-time home buyers. A lot of individuals will be in your ear, and they're going to share with you horror stories. Seek your professional subject matter experts and get information from them. A lot of naysayers that are chiming in, they don't own. It's negative energy, and they're going to hold you back. So just stay focused, and just go after your dream. It's there. It's possible. I can say it because I've done it. I offer consultation for free. Deidre and I often have workshops together. So I can be contacted at www.karendadehomes.com. Email karendadehomes@gmail.com. Telephone number is 703-402-6618. I love new buyers, resellers, and investors. Let me help you get off the fence.
I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Latoya?
Indeed. So I will repeat what I shared earlier. One of the major reasons why I am in lending is because I love the old adage, each one teach one. I am a believer that it would be information wasted if I did not pass along the information that I've acquired over the years to help someone else to purchase their home. I would say to anyone who is on the fence or discouraged from purchasing their home, which I hear so very often, get out of your head. It really isn't that hard to purchase a home. When it comes to obtaining financing, it is your credit that says yes or no. It is your debt to income that determines the amount. But anyone can purchase as long as you have the right pieces in place. When it comes to credit, I often share with people, the average person, it really doesn't take much to repair your credit. It's a matter of someone taking the time to educate you. That is something that I believe within myself, that I specialize in. I show people how they can get their credit to the right score where it needs to be within a short period of time. It really doesn't take long. The average person maybe 2 to 3 months, if that. It's just a matter of someone educating you. Where they can find me, my telephone number is 301-710-8286, and my email address is lharris@VanDyk, DYK, mortgage.com. Again, reach out to me, even if you don't know where to start, and I can talk you through, okay, how easy and how simple it is to get qualified for a home loan. All you need is someone to take the time and show you.
Listen, this has been great. Thank you, Alyssa. She says, thank you, ladies. I think this has been such a great panel, and you guys held nothing back with regards to sharing the information that you know. And so I believe these women are trusted. So if you have any questions with regards to home ownership, reach out to them individually, right? Put them on your team so that you're not wondering if they're shady, if they try to get over you. Because that's the major thing that comes with home ownership. You want to make sure people have your best interest in heart. And I love the backstories that you all have, and your passion to really want to help people get into these homes. Listen, I need to hold on to my house in DC, so I need to really reach out to Lexa. No, we're doing great. But, I want to figure out how to make it work for us, right? So you want to make sure that you get all the information that you need. Hey, Lauren Hillian, she says great information. Sharon Ross says thank you. Pamela says, thank you for that, Ms. Harris. I was part of the Equifax breach and have no credit history anymore.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Call me. It's really easy.
And this is the information that I love to share with our audience. Like, this is so valuable, and we've got to do another heart to heart. We've got to do another home edition, so we could dig deeper into some of the questions. As you know, we're still into this pandemic, and you know, there's some people that are out here hurting, but there are some people that don't know that they have it. They're ready, right, Karen? There's some people that don't know that you're in the position now where you could go ahead and become a homeowner.
Really
and just to add on,
before we close out,
I did want to say this, Cheryl. I know a lot of times a husband and a wife want to purchase together, but what I'm seeing now is because of the pandemic, one or the other may have, lost their employment. So go with the one that has the stronger credit. Let that person purchase the home. Work with LaToya, come to your trusted agent here, and put the wife on the deed with deed trust.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's doable. You have to be creative, but it is doable.
Exactly.
It's one way to skin a cat.
Exactly.
That's so good. And that's great to know that you don't have to put both, you could do one or the other and put the other on the deed. That's great. This is great information. Okay, we're going to wrap it up because we could continue to talk forever. Listen, ladies, thank you guys so very much. It's been great information. Deidre, you brought a wealth of information. Karen, you brought LaToya, you brought a wealth of information to our audience tonight, and we really are grateful for that. Again, let's do it again, okay?
All right.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
All right, everybody.
Ladies.
Thank you for joining us. Make sure you follow us on our Instagram, our Facebook, our YouTube page is going to live there. So if you need to go back and hear any of the comments that we've had, you can go to praisedc.com, myspiritdc.com, our Facebook page, and Radio 1 DC, the YouTube page, and check out the recap. Good night, everybody. Have a great
day.
Good night.